When I found out I was pregnant 2 days before the 2017 Australian Open, I was ecstatic. I mean, my body had already begun to switch allegiances. Its job, as far as it was concerned, was to grow and nurture this baby that had seemingly materialized inside of me, unplanned. You know, giving birth to my baby, as it turns out, was a test for how loud and how often I would have to cry out before I was finally heard. So a caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown, a long first step. And her voice is heard upon the distant hill as the caged bird sings for freedom of the perspectives of those subjected to racism. In his earlier study in the Philadelphia Negro, Du Bois introduced structural explanations for racial indifference in health outcomes, about the biological inferiority of Black people, about the political and socioeconomic circumstances that led to ill health, prefacing the latter in 20th century discussions on the social determinants of health. So the boy asked, "Mr. Owl, how many dead Negroes does it take to get to the center of institutionalized racism?" The owl responds, "Let's find out. Says, I don't know, but my friend Jim Crota says I was too busy killing. I forgot to count." In the 1840s, Dr. James Marion Sims conducted violent and unethical experimentation on enslaved Black women to observe the consequences of childbirth and sterilization. His mistreatment and horrific exploitation has since then evolved into the bias and discrimination that African Americans must face in our everyday healthcare system. By acknowledging these past actions, we can dismantle the systemic barriers and provide equitable and quality healthcare for all. Through the poems Caged Bird by Maya Angelou, Tootsie Roll Racism by Colin Edmonds, the prose Racism and the Off-Duty Doctor by Dr. Sharon Shamasunder, the article Histories of Medical Racism by The Lament, and lastly, Serena Williams' story of her CT scan, we witness the harsh reality that my people must face on an everyday basis from the same people that claim to take care of us and heal us. A program dedicated to those who have been caged by biological biases. In medical residency, I trained at a county hospital in Los Angeles. Black and brown patients used to lay on gurneys and line the wards down in the emergency room. Our patients were often poor, undocumented. The doctors were mostly white. So the boy asked, "Mr. Owl, how many dead Negroes does it take to get to the center of institutionalized racism?" The owl responds, "Until these wings encompass the world like a candy wrapper." Like the history of U.S. policing, the history of medicine and healthcare in the USA is marked by myriad forms of violence. Unequal access to healthcare, the segregation of medical facilities. These, together with inequalities in housing, wealth, employment opportunities, and social service provision, produce disproportionate health disparities by race. As a doctor, I am looking to make common cause with Black boys that are stopped by the police and shot by the police without a doctor's ID to protect them. Common cause with the 109 Black bodies killed by the police this year. You know, sometimes when I fill out the death certificates, I wish I could write the cause of death as poverty or American racism. Since 1619, when the first black man was brought overseas to the British colony of Virginia, until June 19, 1865, when the last black man was emancipated in the USA, black people, especially black women, endured violent medical treatment and experimentation against their will. So the caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown. Every time the baby's heart rate dropped, the doctors would come in and tell me to lay on my side. The baby's heart rate went up and everything seemed fine until black life equates to black death. And we have all of your free money. So the boy asked, Mr. Owl, how many dead Negroes does it take to get to the center of institutionalized racism? The owl responds, apparently, one more. But a bird who stalks down in her narrow cage and seldom sees through bars of rage, her wings are clipped and her feet are tied, and she tries to open her throat to sing. I'm dying, oh my God, I'm dying. I was hacking so hard I couldn't get air in my lungs, so I grabbed a towel and I rolled it up, placed it over my incision, but soon enough I was hacking so hard that my stitches burst. Says, don't ask questions. Says, curiosity killed the cat. And we killed Malcolm and Martin, right? Says, don't ask questions. I was more than ready for the epidural, but after 20 minutes, the doctors walked in, looked at me, and said, how does it feel to be a problem? Dubois reframed the conversation of racial indifference, not by those seeking perspective of supposed racial inferiority, but I spoke to the nurse. I told her, I need to have a CAT scan, and I need to be on my heparin drip. She just looked at me and said, honey, I think all this medicine's making you crazy. No. So I told her again, I need to be on my heparin drip, and I need it to be done with dye. She just looked at me again and said, honey, I think you need rest. No, I am telling you, this is what I need. May we learn their needs in life? They exist. In this country, the only way I know home is through them. I want to reclaim a space for the black, the brown, the nameless, the patients, myself. In this country, the only way I know home is through them. See, this is the tootsie-roll racism. A type of racism only palatable because the poison's hidden behind 32 milligrams of sugar. And it's not until when you read the label, you realize this poison will rot you from the inside out. And it's at that moment when your body is nothing but dust. When there's nothing left to call black or revolutionary or human. That is when you have your answer. So, the boy asked, Mr. Owl, how many dead Negroes does it take to get to the center of institutionalized racism?